All right. Welcome, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast, short and sweet podcast inside the mind of revenue managers. Today, I have a real revenue manager. I'm joined by Emre Ilgaz, who is the head of revenue management at AvantStay. Emre, welcome.
Hi, Emmanuel. Thanks for having me. It's great to be here.
I'm very excited. You manage a very large portfolio, a very well-known portfolio in the industry. So I'm very excited to ask you these questions. So let me start by asking you, how did you get into hospitality? And tell me about your current role.
Yes. So it's actually a funny story. I've been with AvantStay since 8 years, and I'm head of revenue management at AvantStay right now. I've been with the company since the beginning. I was employee 5.
Oh wow! I did not know that.
It was early days, and I was in a career fair at UCLA in my postgrad, and I found our co-founders Sean and Ruben in their booths, and put my resume in and got into interview, and then that's a funny story because I never heard back from them, and then they said they probably gonna have a training session in a few days later. And then after the interview, I just showed up full suit up, and they were not expecting me to be there. But as I was there, and they were like, "Okay, you're hired." So that's how I actually got into the company, from the beginning as an intern. And at that scale, you do pretty much everything from marketing, finance, revenue management didn't exist at that scale yet. So that's really early days. We only had 20 properties. And then I started a little bit on the finance pricing side, underwriting. And then my role evolved to revenue management, start building the revenue management function, and continue to grow the team at scale. So here we are today.
Congratulations. What was your undergraduate in? What did you study in school?
My background is in industrial engineering, and I did my postgrad in marketing, and then I did my MBA in concentration in finance.
Holy, okay. Congratulations. I'm a mechanical engineer, so also engineering background. So I'm going to ask an extra question here, just because why not? So AvantStay is obviously well known in the industry. You guys have survived and thrived, while a lot of property management companies at your scale didn't. What would you say was the secret for that?
It's been a roller coaster journey for sure. We have been obviously, I've seen with the pandemic, all the ups and downs. It's been challenging environment. It's all the regulatory challenges that happen, all the demands obviously didn't exist. It was a really great execution back then. I would say the key sauce here is our adaptability. We're really dynamic and don't scare of making changes very quickly. Back in the pandemic, obviously all the short-term travel bans, right? In a week, we switched our portfolio from short-term rental to long-term rental, and we start to try to get mid-term stays, 30-day stays. People are trying to get out of the city, and we're looking for the more private accommodation. They don't have interaction with others, so we were able to adapt that very quickly, and that was I guess one of the most challenging, also most impressive moments. Back when I look back in our history in the company, it was a lot of collaboration, obviously a lot of functions, departments didn't need any work, right? We don't need to onboard new homes. We don't need to go through standard guest check-ins and everything. So different departments was helping each other. CX team had a huge inquiry list on the cancellation. So other teams are jumping into doing CX job. Other teams jumping helping the pricing. So it was that adaptability and collaboration and team culture. I think that's been really the key, which we continue to evolve with that direction. Obviously, all the demand shocks we had in the industry over the last 5 years, demand peak in 2021, 2022, then obviously oversupplied industry, then it's demand didn't grow as much. So adapting to that new environment. but it's good to be finally going back to stability a little bit, like over the last few years. So we're seeing that too.
Thank you for that wonderful answer. Adaptability and hustle, right?
Yeah.
We share a lot of the same core values at Jetstream, so I totally resonate with what you're saying. And yes, it's been a super hard 5 years, and we're in the same boat. Navigated it all with the same values, and happy for a bit of stability. So are there any ways that you're experimenting with AI at AvantStay, and you can share what or what you don't want, either in operations, guest experiences, or even your role in revenue management and revenue strategy?
Yeah, I mean, we are probably one of the early adapters on this. Like, we have an amazing engineering team, and they are constantly chasing for innovation, constantly chasing for new things. And I guess like it's a little bit trial and error, right? Like, I also encourage my team, like my analysts in my team, like also like they're trying different approach, how I can optimize this workflow using like cloud, using the GPT. So they're all in like kind of trial and error. And what we are doing, like we already implementing like a lot of part in business, obviously some on the customer experience side, growth side, revenue management side, like so all part of business is touching a little bit like in our workflows. Obviously, a lot of it's still on the experimental side, but there are some great processes beyond already established that is we are leveraging. Most of it, like I would say, on the revenue management side, we're using a lot of summaries, right? Like we're trying to get because we have a large portfolio. We want to make sure, like, if someone within revenue management team or outside of revenue management team needs a quick insight, we are able to get those like quick insights, like what are the key signals that we are getting from that property, what are the performance indicators, like, and what are the potential suggestions that our pricing tool also provides on top. And obviously we have a full team that analyze that insights. It's just like rather than relying fully on like living the whole workflow to AI, we are just like making it getting a little bit shortcut using AI. So that's kind of like whole sentiment so far. And obviously it's evolving, and every day I guess like new experimentation is happening on our side as well. So it's a growing part on our side.
I fully resonate. Clearly, being adaptable and having a really sort of hustling culture means you are early adapters, but early adopters of what's coming out. Again, fully resonate. Same with our business. So we were chatting before this. You said you guys have your own tech stack. Do you have your own software for revenue management as well, or are you using one of the off-the-shelf?
So we have our own PMS. So we built our full tech stack. Like we have we build in like our pricing tool within our Voyage, but we are also using external provider. We're not relying on only one provider, but Wheelhouse is our great partner right now. We're working with them, but also we are working with other data providers, AirDNA, eData, and constantly looking for the additional data points. And
yes,
our philosophy, we don't really mind to invest in the data. We don't really mind to expand that exposure, because we know there are some challenges like around the data landscape in the industry. So we want to make sure we are feeding everything, and our tool is actually taking everything inside and kind of like allowing our team to like set the pricing. So
okay,
yeah,
very smart. We're also Wheelhouse users, so shout out to the team at Wheelhouse here.
Yes, exactly.
So if I gave you a magic wand to fix one challenge in how your properties are listed or sold or distributed today, what would you fix first?
It's a great question. I think back to my previous point, it's probably data inconsistency. That would be like my number one answer to that. And you know, we're recently newer industry, especially on the data side, right? Like it's constantly evolving, and our data framework or all data sources not going to 30, 50 years back, where it's that we can really learn from it, from the shocks, from the crisis, like that we can rely on, or we don't even have that data sets for all the properties too, right? Like a lot of the large portion of the supply in the market is recently launched. So it's kind of like that inconsistency is probably the biggest challenge. If we have the more reliance and more relevant data point, that's probably would be my magic man to fix it, like in the industry.
I also agree. I don't say this to everybody, by the way. You think I just say I agree all the time, but I don't. So I also agree. More data. Can never have enough data, but then you need to parse it. But of course, AI is helping with that a lot right now.
Because
Well,
when we have more data, that helps us to like really solve the other problems. Like
yes.
Otherwise, we would just be making blind decisions. So that's probably like would help us to solve other challenges that we're facing.
It also helps you look better in front of your homeowners and your investors.
For sure.
And investors, I mean like the asset investors. Sure, the corporate investors as well. Because without data, you're running blind and they get frustrated. With data and accurate data, everybody can sort of like, okay, we understand what's going on. I'm sure you're feeling the same thing because you guys have a lot of owners.
Exactly. Owner conversation, like price decision, that benchmarking, accurate comp set comparison, that's definitely is the key part. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for your time. I really genuinely appreciate our conversation. And thanks for sharing your insight. Congratulations on your journey at AvantStay. Well done.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me. It was fun.